How's it end?
How's it end?
I was hoping you'd
with the
break
fall.
in. Yeah,
You stop playing and then it ends.
Oh,
That's
okay.
and the good old summertime.
Yeah.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to the fun show here at Big TV.
Nobody's laughing.
You will notice things look a little different today
Okay.
because due to some construction at our normal studio and the inability of your elderly co-host to actually climb the stairs,
That's me.
we are coming to you from a classroom at Brookline High School,
I'm used to that.
which is an interesting situation.
Yeah.
But this is the July 16th edition of the Fun Show here at Big TV. And sitting behind the Kira keyboard is Michael Sallin, who just gave us a rendition of the good old summertime. And since we've had a fairly reasonable heat wave of late,
It has been warm.
it's an appropriate choice.
Do you think this is? Do you feel like a peripatetic type of person now?
Do I feel peripatetic?
Yeah.
I don't move as much as I used to.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
I'm peripatetic in my mind,
Okay. Ah.
but
good.
not in my
That's
knees.
good.
There you go.
How about you? Are you? Do you wander around a little?
Not as much, not in the heat,
Okay. All right.
It's-
not with this knee.
Oh, knees are fun.
So this is the Invalid Fun Show here, and
Yeah.
these things. In any case, today the current occupant met with his boss for a job review in Helsinki today, and with his typical arrogance, he determined that he would meet with nobody else there. So there were no one in the room for the first 2 hours, was it?
Yeah, but I mean, did other people want to meet with him? They probably were just as happy.
Well, later they did bring their staffs in, but for like 2 hours it was just Putin and the current resident and two
I was
interpreters.
gonna say.
But what?
And I wouldn't give you a plug nickel for the life of either one of those interpreters.
Was there air conditioning in there? Because
What?
Air conditioning in there. In
It
that
was,
little
it was
room.
Helsinki. How hot can it be in
It'd be
Helsinki?
hot. There's no ice flows around there.
I have a daughter in Helsinki,
Oh,
but
that's all right. Well,
but I assume so. It was apparently a government palace, very posh.
oh, armpits.
But since there's only those two guys to report what happened, and there aren't 12 people on the face of the earth who would believe one word that either one of them said, they're going to make these claims, and the only people who can refute the claims are the interpreters. And I wouldn't, I'd want to be moved to South Africa immediately after the meeting. My life would not be very good. Anyway, the reviews of the current occupant's performance today are somewhat like the reviews of his performance for the last week or so. He felt unwelcome. 40 to 100,000 people parading the streets, half of whom was signs saying, "We hate you," and he
Yes.
felt unwelcome. But this was a replay of his meeting with Kim, in which he gave away the store and got absolutely nothing in return. I mean, he went in there, he said the bad relations with Russia are due to the previous administrations who weren't as smart as he was, that there was no collusion, that Putin assured him they didn't interfere in anything, and that everything was America's fault.
How come they never tell us the menus at these places?
The menus?
Yeah.
I don't know if they had lunch.
They
I
got to
did-
be eating something, don't they?
Why do you want to know the menus?
Well, I don't know. It'd be interesting to find out.
Well, it was a very short tea with the Queen. How long was it?
17 minutes.
17
And
minutes.
she was trying to get away.
There was no second cup.
There was a thing. There was a thing on our Facebook which shows her peeking through a curtain, and
Yeah.
the caption said, "Is he gone yet?"
Is he gone? He was only on the grounds 40 minutes.
He also walked in front of her.
Yes. Turned his back on her. Previous presidents have been invited with their wives to spend the night at Windsor Castle or Buckingham Castle.
Have dinner.
And have a formal white tie state dinner and things.
I
And
spent
here's
a
the
night
other
there.
thing. William and Charles refused to show up.
William and Charles or William and Harry?
William and Charles.
Oh, okay.
William and Charles refused to show up.
Oh.
Philip doesn't show up at much these days, so he
Well, I
got
knew
a,
he wasn't going.
he got a free pass,
Yeah.
you know. But
Yeah.
Did Harry go?
oh heavens no,
Oh,
no, there was nobody. The poor queen was
Yeah.
all alone,
Poor thing.
all alone. She had to
Is
put
Philip-
up with
She's a
this
tough
guy.
boy. She's a
Is
tough
still-
old
is-
bird.
Is he still married to the Duchess?
Who?
Philip?
Yeah, he's married to the Queen.
No.
Philip.
Philip is Elizabeth's husband.
Oh.
Charles is Camilla Parker Bowles' husband.
She's still married to him.
Okay. Thanks.
Yes, and actually
Good.
they're
I'm
now
glad
writing
got me straightened
why,
out on that.
an explanation of why he didn't marry her in the first place.
Because
You know?
they wouldn't let him. She was divorced.
Well, she can
I'm
be-
going to say something really
And she
terrible.
Yeah.
They wanted better looking children.
Well, okay. I wasn't going there, Mr. O'Reilly.
I thought she was kind of attractive. I don't know.
Camilla,
Okay. I think was she
if you're a horse
was
breeder,
she maybe not necessarily was she like waning out of child? Although if they had let him marry her earlier,
right?
she might have had children.
She might.
Well, no, yes,
Because she had her own with
with her former
her
husband.
first husband.
Oh, okay. I wasn't up on that. Anyway, so in any case, not only are the Democrats blasting the current occupant over this meeting, but many Republicans as well. They've called it disgusting, unacceptable,
Treason.
and
treasonous.
my favorite quote from a unhappy Republican is, quote, "Nothing short of treason." Nothing short of treason. And my favorite Twitter on this meeting today was, you see, this is what an asset looks like standing next to his handler. My feeling was he got called in for a job review.
Yeah.
You know. Now, is Putin saying to himself, yeah, this is what I worked so hard for, or is he saying, I never hoped for so much?
Yeah, probably the latter.
Well, maybe both.
Everything I got, right? So did anybody watch the World Cup?
Well, you did.
I did.
Okay.
Yes.
I did.
I
I
didn't.
watched a little. Okay. I'm getting to like
My-
soccer more.
My nephew and his girlfriend watched it at a beer garden in Tempelhof
Oh.
in Berlin,
that's
and
good.
that seemed to be pretty exciting.
Now, was it France beat Croatia?
Yes,
And that's the last time they won was 20-something years ago?
yes.
Okay.
Well, Croatia's never been a final before, so
Well, they got 2
the
million.
better team did not win, interestingly enough, because France got 4 goals, and 3 of them were gift wrapped. Absolutely gift wrapped. The first one was an own goal, which means that a Croatian guy put it in the net.
Oh.
The second one was a penalty shot off a very unfortunate handball, which was the right call, except that it certainly wasn't intentional. And then the fourth goal, I think the goalie had already gone home because it was from like 35 yards out with no screen, no anything, and the goalie never moved. He just sort of turned to look at it go in the net.
Well, can you answer this for me? Why is it that, they have the team colors, let's say like blue and white,
Yes.
but the goalie is in a completely different color?
Well, because the goalie is the only person on the field who can touch the ball with his hands within the field of play, and they don't want the official to try to figure out, oh, was that the goalie?
Oh, okay.
Since he has a special set of powers,
Okay.
it makes it so much easier for the officials to pick it
Oh,
up.
all right.
So that's exactly why.
Oh, okay.
Good question.
Thank you.
Well, the Red Sox are doing pretty good.
The Red Sox are
Yeah.
doing phenomenally. They've actually done better once in history, like 1946 or something like that.
Yeah, you're right.
But it is incredible, and they have 5 players in the All-Star game,
Wow, I didn't realize that many.
and their pitcher Chris Sale is starting the All-Star game, and some of these games they've simply walked away with. You know, they've scored a ton of runs early, but I mean, they had a game the other day that had a walk-off. This sounds so strange, a walk-off grand slam.
Yeah.
You know, it's one thing to have a walk-off home run, but a walk-off home run with the bases loaded is a rare occasion.
True.
But here's another reason to actually, you know, my standard thing with the Red Sox, who cares?
Yes.
But I found a reason to cheer for the Red Sox because they're 4.5 games up on the Yankees, and the general manager of the Yankees came out and gave a long and passionate statement as to how Mr. Kavanaugh was a wonderful choice for the Supreme Court.
I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah.
And so we don't need any reasons to hate the Yankees, but there's another one. Right?
Well, what blew my mind is they showed LeBron James coming out in Lakers shorts. Why they have the word Lakers across the front, I don't know. And the shorts are $500, and they sold out.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous.
It's crazy.
I mean, he's not even that good a player.
Well, he overpowers a lot of people.
Why did he leave? I mean, he just loves Cleveland so much.
The money.
But the thing is, I don't know, somehow I think that
Has he ever cared about anything but
he
money?
could have parlayed some other kind of, I don't know. At some point, you got to have some kind of moral compass, and his compass is.
This man, LeBron James, has never even heard the word loyalty. You know, he has no concept of it.
Hey, man, he's a professional. What do you?
It doesn't matter. It's basketball.
Yeah, I mean, they ain't curing cancer.
You know,
It's
just basketball.
Just basketball.
Now, here's the thing: the Celtics still have the most banners, correct?
Of course, yes.
Okay. Who's coming up?
Nobody's really that close.
Nobody's.
I would
okay.
say probably L.A.
Okay.
might be next. I mean, there was that brief span of Detroit. You know, the bad boys of Detroit, and then of course Chicago had a good run at things, and frankly, you know, now it's Golden State.
Golden State, yeah.
You know, so we'll figure these things out. Here's a.
Why did you drop Kavanaugh off so quickly?
Kavanaugh?
Yeah.
Well, because I don't really see how there's anything we can do about him. I mean, they now are offering proof that he lied to the Senate when he was last confirmed.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter.
Shouldn't the Democrats fight?
They should fight, but I don't see that they have
time?
any chance because there isn't 1 ounce of integrity in the entire Republican Party. Not once.
All right. Okay.
Not one. Now, I can see John McCain showing up on a gurney to vote no, you know.
I'm telling you, that man's got pluck.
But Susan Collins, who theoretically was a bit of a hope, is now waffled and backed up and come up with 18 reasons why she should vote for this guy.
You don't say much about the state troopers and all the things that are going on. All these guys are quitting, retiring, and
is it all of them or just what do you call it? What is it?
yeah,
Was it
about
Troop
17 retired.
No, was it Troop E or?
Yeah, it was one troop. It was the troop
E,
that
and they dismantled
it
it.
was the troop that did the turnpike.
Yeah.
Wait, but the thing is, they let him retire and get that big pension.
But some of them,
It can be taken back.
Yeah.
Well, they say it can, but
It can be taken back.
it's not done too quickly.
But is this the week to make a big issue out of that
I know,
when we've got a dead cop?
That was
True.
something else.
True.
Although
And that poor
I'll
woman,
say something that's will not be considered totally appropriate on that thing. How does a guy let his gun get taken away from him?
the guy threw a rock and hit him in the head.
Hit him.
Actually, did he throw it? I
Yeah,
thought he
it was
had
a
it in his
big-
hand.
I think he had a big rock, though.
I heard he
Yeah.
threw a rock, hit the police
Oh,
officer
okay.
in the head. The
Stunned
guy
him.
went down.
Then
And then
took
he
it.
then
grabbed
took
his
his
gun.
gun.
Yeah.
And then that woman sitting in there having a couple
Right,
of
right. If the
tea.
cop didn't lose his gun, the woman would never have been hurt.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's really
Okay.
sad. He was a vet 42 years old,
Yep.
had a
It
family.
is. It is a terrible story.
And, you know,
But I think the kids, all these kids that are still locked away in all these places all over the country.
oh yeah, they keep telling the judge, well, we can't do it. And they're now, you know, telling the judge they're not sure where
Their parents
some
are-
of the kids are or where
Oh.
some of the parents are. And
Yeah, a lot of the
They-
some of
they
the parents
didn't
have been
have-
sent back to these countries.
they didn't have any system when they separated these kids for reuniting them.
Well, zero.
Well, because they didn't have any plans to.
Huh?
Because they probably didn't have any plans to. They were just going to put them on some kind of a transport. And where are you from? This country? Okay, boom. Shoot that crowd over there. And, you know, let the people in that country
Yeah.
figure it out.
Okay, kids, you're going back to Honduras, and if we ever find your parents,
Yeah.
we'll send them to you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the Big TV Unrehearsed Thespian Society's presentation,
Really unrehearsed.
and we have actually picked a New Year's epic from 2009. It's not as deep in the vault as we sometimes go, but since it is about the government transition, it has a certain amount of nostalgia in it, and it is entitled Reflecting.
Okay.
Action.
It's the new year, but I don't feel any different.
Yeah, you look the same.
Oh, Aaron, how about it? How about it?
Nope. Sorry.
Yahoo! I think I just woke up a viewer.
That's promising. Very promising.
Shouldn't I be bursting with newness?
Maybe it's just indigestion.
He's probably right.
Could happen on January 20th.
Guy wants to celebrate.
Normal.
Laura said her husband has done a good job.
She's entitled.
She does live with George.
He has left us with some unfinished business.
Oh, you think? How about wars in Iraq and Afghanistan?
And the economic collapse.
But he's helped with the $700 billion bank bailout.
Any idea how that's going?
Or who's supervising it?
Paulson and Federal Reserve Bernanke doing the oversight?
You mean who's responsible for the money?
What a silly question.
But it's our money, right?
They're probably still printing the stuff.
President loaned GM and Chrysler a bundle, too.
They'll pay it back sometime.
Well, that's what we hope and expect.
But we got a new president coming in soon.
In front of a big crowd.
President Obama will have plenty on his plate,
He's picked some good people.
For his staff and cabinet.
and he's going to need them.
They'll all be singing that old musical tune.
We're reviewing the situation.
Very good.
Just hope we have good weather for the inauguration.
Yeah, not too much snow, freezing, sleet, ice,
Clean your sidewalk and driveway.
Or be fined.
and for heaven's sake, don't throw it in the street or else.
Don't forget to sand and salt or another fine.
Suppose you're unwell or ill.
Too bad.
Yeah, and you can't find anybody to help.
Better have a friendly neighbor or get out there.
Otherwise, you could be laid off.
Oh, you mean placed on unpaid administrative leave?
But I'm a resident. I'm retired.
Don't sweat it, pal.
Okay. Did everybody complete their holiday shopping?
I guess.
Cash?
Exchanges now, that's another matter.
I'd rather be in Florida.
I like the winter.
Ah, humbug.
Lots of folks here about love skiing, Mike.
Me too.
I wouldn't want to come home with a broken leg.
You gotta have some skills on the slopes.
And trusting Madoff with your savings wasn't enough.
That's why I stick to the ski runs.
Well, next you'll jump over to the surge.
Notwithstanding the improvement, Al Qaeda is still very active.
Bombs still killing civilians over there.
Bush pardoned a man, and then he withdrew it.
But a bit unusual.
You'd think they'd get it right by this time.
And Governor Patrick is gonna have to make some more cuts.
On new fees, toll hikes, and taxes.
Not my favorite subject.
And municipalities are going to get 10% less.
And the schools will be hurt bad.
With closings and layoffs.
Well, the governor asked the audio unions to make concessions.
A new president could change that scenario.
He promised jobs for fired workers.
Journalists are calling this a recession.
And all the time, the Yankees can pay $430 million for just 3 players.
Doesn't seem to make much sense.
They got it, and they're spending it.
Yeah, their new stadium must have 60,000 seats.
Peanuts.
Few more than old Fenway.
And hedge fund Henry isn't handing it out so quickly either.
Well, I, for one, am glad Barack went to Hawaii. Hawaii, that's where he went. He looks better for the rest.
George got a little grayer and says he's reading more.
Reading?
Glad Obama was taking an oath on Lincoln's Bible.
He has to attend 10 balls afterwards.
Not much from John and Sarah.
Tough loss for him.
On a clear day, she can still see Russia from her backyard.
Bill disclosed who gave the dough for his foundation.
Presidential libraries are expensive.
Well, you know George Bush Jr. once won too.
Well, he's very popular.
Yes, he did support the surge.
And he kept our country safe on 9/11.
Israel left Gaza and Hamas took over.
And George wanted that.
Palestinians agreed to a ceasefire and kept firing rockets.
Blamed it on the Zionist terrorists.
Which brought retaliation.
Muslim jihadists accuse Israel of conspiring to unjustifiably attack Hamas.
Makes perfect sense to me.
And Jimmy Carter and Bishop Desmond Tutu.
More Zionist exploitation of the innocent Palestinians, I suppose.
Well, everybody already knows this.
Israel has to learn to ignore Hamas rockets.
Even though the Secretary of State Rice and President Bush don't agree.
And then we have Colonel Gaddafi defending Russian agents in NATO.
In the Globe op yesterday, in the article.
And the Libyans bombing our planes.
The U.S. has renewed diplomatic relations with Libya.
There are so many problems facing President Obama.
Unfortunately, he's losing a wise, cool head.
Oh, yeah, sure. Vice President Cheney's leaving office.
But Joe Biden will try to fill the void.
Yeah, Joe Biden. He does have some experience in foreign affairs.
Senator Kaine is nodding his approval.
Facing stormy domestic seas with bipartisanship.
Is required of conservatives.
Because failure is simply not acceptable.
Leaders must come together.
To put our country back on the right path.
America needs us all.
Barack says so.
Change is good for everybody.
And so, let's make it a happy New Year.
Okay.
Blackout. Now, how many people out there know that little song we butchered in the middle of that thing?
Which
We're reviewing our situation.
Where does it come from? Come on.
Oliver Twist.
Oh, Twist, which is a very good musical, I have to say. I enjoyed that.
I've seen it once. I
Yeah,
reviewed it once.
all his life.
Yes.
All the trials and tribulations. Better settle down and get myself a wife. A wife will come and go for me and cook for me and sew for me.
Ah, back
The
then.
problems she will make for me, I think I better think it out again.
Well, what is your favorite musical?
That's hard to say, but my general response to that is one that hardly ever gets done anymore, and that's Finian's Rainbow.
I like Oklahoma.
Well, I like Oklahoma. I've done Oklahoma 3 times.
You know, they
That's why
wanted
I
us to
said
do.
it.
This one wanted us to do Finian's Rainbow, and I was on the play reading committee, and so they said, well, listen to the soundtrack and see. And I was shocked that I knew every song. There were songs that I didn't realize were from Finian's Rainbow. I knew every song except for one.
Okay.
But you can't, like you said, it's hardly ever done.
Which one did you not
I can't
know?
remember, but I mean, I sat in the car and I was singing. Oh, I know this one. Oh, I know this one. And I was shocked. But it's hard to do because of the proportions of what you need for the audience. And
How are things in Glockamora?
Yeah.
Old Devil Moon.
Not bad.
And when I'm not near the girl
Yeah.
I love.
I mean, it's a
girl
it's got a lot of
I'm
great
near.
songs in it. But one of my favorites, well, two, Guys and Dolls and Fiddler on the Roof. I
Yeah.
love Fiddler, especially the song with the dead grandmother,
Too ethnic.
The Dream. Well,
I've never done Fiddler.
oh, I love it.
Never done
I
Fiddler.
love it. I
One
can
long
sing.
staircase just going up
Yeah.
and one even longer coming down.
You
That's a
really
great-
know these songs,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah.
All these Irving Berlin numbers, you know them all.
Oh, that was an Irving Berlin.
I got it wrong?
Yeah.
Pick an Irving Berlin.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
What's that, Yankee
God
Doodle
Bless
Dandy?
America.
Um,
I like that.
When that I love.
Okay.
All right, here's an interesting piece buried in the
Very.
various feeds that were not about Donald Trump this week. A convicted serial killer out in California
Yes.
has confessed to the murder of Nicole Simpson.
Oh.
well, here's the thing. I've always thought OJ didn't do it, but he had something to do with it. I believe that because I don't think he had, he wouldn't get himself that dirty.
The gloves didn't fit. You saw.
Oh, because they were dried up. You got that much blood on you.
Yes, that's
So this
true.
guy, so now you saw this in what?
This is a guy who has been convicted, I think, of killing like 15 people or something, and he has confessed to the killing of Nicole Simpson. Now,
Come on.
who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? Is he in jail at least?
Yes.
Well, they got him.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, I thought
Yeah.
I figured he'd get bail or something.
What? No, he wasn't. He wasn't tweeting it out. No.
Okay.
But anyway, maybe just possibly they'll lighten up on OJ a bit.
but he's done enough of the other things.
But we don't know if this is.
Like
The
it-
other thing he did wouldn't have gotten him a year in jail.
Yeah. You mean the stealing those?
True.
The
It
stealing,
would not ordinarily have gotten him a
Oh,
year
ordinarily,
in jail.
okay. You mean because they wouldn't like give him a slap on
wanted
the
to
wrist,
get
a
him-
probation?
They convicted him of the murder in the guise of armed robbery.
Okay.
Right.
All
So
right.
this is what happens on these things. So the town election is speeding up a bit, and getting on to things. I mean, it's not really a town election. What it is a state rep election.
What about this
And,
business? All these people.
And I'm hoping to have the better candidate here with us in the next couple of weeks
Okay.
to talk to. And the election is strangely set because the election is set for September 4th. Do you happen to know what September 4th is?
It's the day after Labor Day,
It's
isn't
the
it?
day after Labor Day. So we're trying to point out to people, go in, vote absentee, and then
was
you
gonna
don't have
say,
to worry
what about-
about your Labor Day weekends,
Yeah.
and get it over with. How are we doing out there, sir?
And so we should.
One.
Let's do it, Michael. Oh, incidentally, hey, Reenie, wake up. We're about to sing. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. Irene, good night. Irene, good night. We'll see you in our dreams. Try to be awake when Michael comes home. With any luck at all, we will see you next week. Same time, same station, different venue. Good night
I
from
like
Big TV and the Fun Show.
and the traveling fun show.
Trap.